In an era when limited express trains were highly coveted, the success of the electric limited express Kodama on the Tokaido Main Line became a symbol of Japan's post-war recovery and growth, raising nationwide expectations for limited express operations. In 1960, there was a strong demand for modern limited express operations in the Tohoku region, which had lagged in modernization. Thus, the diesel limited express Hatsukari was born, replacing old passenger cars hauled by steam locomotives with the latest diesel limited express Kiha 81. The luxurious train, equipped with air conditioning and heating, and featuring a modern dining car, received favorable reviews. However, frequent breakdowns and even fires after the start of operations led to the newspapers dubbing it disappointing, Hatsukari, accidents all the time. Intense measures were taken before the major increase in diesel limited express services the following year, gradually calming the troubles. The highlight of this timetable revision was the nationwide increase in diesel limited express trains, and the issues had to be resolved by then. A new design was adopted, shortening the basic formation to 6 cars and making operations more flexible by providing through passages in the leading cars, allowing for splitting and merging. Based on the frequent breakdown experience with Hatsukari, sufficient test runs were conducted nationwide before the start of commercial operations. The elegant style of the train attracted attention, and the test train also played the role of a showcase for the birth of the new limited express. Among the new limited express trains born on major trunk lines was the Matsukaze Limited Express in the Sannan region. Given a name symbolizing the Sannan coast, rich with white sand and green pines, this train connected Kyoto and Matsue, passing through the major commercial city of Osaka. Instead of directly going from Kyoto to the Sannan Main Line, it took a course west on the Tokaido Main Line to Amagasaki, then via the Fukuyama Line to the Sannan Main Line. On the first day of operations of the many diesel limited express trains born nationwide, stakeholders spent a tense time fearing the recurrence of the Hatsukari nightmare. Starting with Hokkaido, the commercial trains departed one after another, with conditions being very favorable and no reports of breakdowns or accidents. However, the Matsukaze experienced axle seizure at Fukuyama, rendering it inoperable. The faulty train was detached, and the service resumed with 5 cars for the time being. Although the limited express Matsukaze gave stakeholders a scare on its first day, other trains ran smoothly, and operations continued without a hitch, in stark contrast to the troubles with Hatsukari. Despite having hot springs and scenic tourist resources, the transportation situation in the Sannan region was significantly behind. With no reliable transportation options other than the Sannan Main Line, the long-awaited limited express appeared, greatly anticipated as a catalyst for attracting tourists. In fact, it led to an increase in tourists, and the initial 6-car formation was increased to 7 cars 2 years later. Furthermore, there was strong demand for the extension of the limited express from the western Sannan region, and by 1964, the operation was extended from Matsue to Hakuda. The formation between Kyoto and Hakuda was also increased by 2 cars to 9 cars. Along the Sannan line, where road conditions were poor, private cars and buses were not competitive, making the limited express train the dominant transportation mode. Amid favorable reviews, the formation was further strengthened, and by 1968, the Kyoto-Yanaga section became a 12-car formation, making it a truly grand diesel limited express worthy of being called the Queen of Sannan. The limited express Matsukaze enjoyed smooth sailing, but a new threat was looming with the changing times. The opening of the Tokaido Shinkansen in 1964 brought an increase in tourists to the Sannan region and positively impacted the growth of Matsukaze. As deficits in local lines gradually became a problem, the outstanding performance of the Tokaido Shinkansen, exceeding expectations, positioned the Shinkansen as a crucial pillar in JNR's management. Plans to increase revenue using the Shinkansen were advanced, and the extension to the Sanayo area, expected to be highly profitable, was decided. Construction was progressed to enable rapid opening to Okayama. Although the Sannan and Sanayo regions appeared far apart on the map, separated by the Chugoku Mountains, with each having its own transportation dominance. The Sanayo Main Line and the Sanin Main Line ran parallel, albeit distantly. If the crosslines connecting the two were well developed, utilizing the Sanayo Main Line, with its superior track conditions, could be advantageous for connecting the Kansai area to central and western Sanin. With the opening of the high-speed rail Shinkansen, boasting overwhelming transport capacity, the competition seemed to be over. The movement towards the rapid opening of the Sanayo Shinkansen to Okayama accelerated. However, the bottleneck was the Hakubi Line route from Okayama to Sanin. The single track with sharp curves and steep gradients, while used by heavy freight trains like limestone ore trains, was limited to a maximum operating speed of 85 km per hour, making it unsuitable for high-speed passenger transport. To address this, new series DMUs were introduced to overcome the gradients of the Hakubi Line and to expedite the transport between Kansai and the central Sanin region. The Okayama route not only shortened the distance to Yanaga by about 13 kilometers compared to the Fukuchiyama Line route, but also enabled higher speeds despite the poor track conditions on the Hakubi Line, thanks to high-speed operation on the Sanayo Main Line. Thus, the third batch of the 181 series Limited Express, the Oki, began operations between Shinosaka and Izumo City via the Hakubi and Sanayo routes. While the Matsukaze took over 6.5 hours between Izumo City and Osaka, the Oki managed to reduce the travel time to under 6 hours. Despite the poor track conditions and the maximum speed of 85 km per hour on the Hakubi Line, speeding at 120 km per hour on the track-improved Sanayo Main Line resulted in over a 30-minute reduction in travel time. This Hakubi Line route Limited Express Oki, along with the Uwa Limited Express Tsubasa, was one of the few trains where the new series DMUs, said to be as fast as electric limited expresses on flat track, demonstrated their full potential. This began to change the flow of passengers between Kansai and the central Sanin region. The opening of the Okayama Shinkansen further accelerated this change. Despite the hassle of transferring to the Shinkansen at Okayama, the reduced travel time by an hour made the faster and more frequent Hakubi Line the primary transport route to the central Sanin region, overtaking the Sanin Main Line. Moreover, the Hakubi Line became the top candidate for the introduction of gas turbine vehicles, which, if realized, would further reduce the Osaka-Izumo City travel time by about 40 minutes. The local area around Sanin had high hopes for these transport improvements via the Hakubi Line. However, the practical use of gas turbine vehicles was soon abandoned, which provided an opportunity for the Matsukaze to survive. While the speed difference between the two did not widen further, the demand for the Hakubi Line Limited Express remained strong, increasing to 6 round trips. At the time of the Okayama Shinkansen opening, while one of the 2 round trips of the Matsukaze was strengthened to a 13-car formation, the Yakumo grew to 4 round trips with 11 car formations and 2 round trips with 8 car formations, completely overtaking the demand. After the Shinkansen opening, during peak periods like holidays, the Hakubi Line even had to pack passengers into the aisles of the green car. However, this prosperity did not last long. With successive road developments, especially the expansion of the expressway network, railway passengers in this area rapidly declined. The Sanin Main Line was severely affected by road improvements, with express buses and the general use of airplanes leading to a continuous decline in passengers. The sections with potential passenger demand, such as Kinosaki Onsen near Kansai, still played a significant role on the Sanin Main Line. However, the section westward to Yanaga lacked notable tourist attractions, besides the Tottori sand dunes. Combined with gradual depopulation and the decreasing population, it became an area where business passengers could not be expected. There were no influential figures to attract highways, road development did not progress, and this region, sandwiched between eastern and central Sanin, remained in a state of being left behind in terms of transportation. Even though this section of the Sanin main line was named a main line, the reality was that it was supported by the local residents in a minimal manner. Despite this, the limited express Matsukaze maintained an exceptional level of luxury with a 13-car formation including 2 green cars and a dining car for a long time. This was a product of the large organization of JNR, which disliked changes and was unable to progress with flexible rationalization. By 1982, the Hakubi Line was electrified, with track improvements and the introduction of 381 series tilting DMUs. Although the speed-up plan during the gas turbine vehicle project was achieved, it did not lead to a fundamental recovery. Meanwhile, the surplus 181 series from the electrification of the Hakubi Line was transferred to the Matsukaze, expecting a speed increase due to higher output. However, JNR lacked the resources to speed up the Sanin main line, and the Matsukaze did not experience a speed increase, with the power of the 181 series being underutilized and allocated to equipment leeway. Thus, the introduction of the 181 series merely served as a replacement for the aging 82 series. Even after the full replacement with the 181 series, the operation section and formation length continued to shorten, and the limited express Matsukaze itself was abolished before JNR privatization. The era of the Matsukaze, which reigned as a representative of long-formation diesel limited expresses with a 13-car formation and was beloved as the Queen of Sanin, came to an end.